afraid of you, kid. Not. Oh, you think you got this?
So I'm sure I'm not the only one wondering how did we get from this to this.
Fucking bitch running your mouth.
Seeing Kanan kill Juke to save Tariq and telling Juke how she was running her mouth, and the writers really do seem to be building this close bond and relationship with Kanan and Juke during the early parts of Raising Kanan, because it will only make it even more impactful when it eventually crashes and burns.
I love you.
Love you too, Juke.
So, some of the questions we're all wondering is, what changed? Why did Juke move to DC? Why did she change her surname to dissociate herself with the Thomas family? Why did Kanan always have this level of fear of Juke? What did she do in the past that stuck with Kanan for all these years, where Juke was able to control and have him follow her orders? Not one single person on power could control Kanan or tell him what to do. Not Tommy, not Ghost, not anyone, apart from one person, Jukebox. So in this video, we're gonna have a look at some clues, theories, and dive deeper with the analysis of Jukebox and Kanan's relationship. And we're gonna start with something Courtney Kemp teased many years ago about Kanan and Jukebox's backstory. So this is what Courtney Kemp said way back in 2016. She was asked about Kanan's scar, and she said, "It's a scar from childhood. Jukebox gave it to him. She cut him in a fight when they were kids." And just to add to this, Ghost also had a scar on his face. And Omari Hardwick said, "What I made up in my mind is that Tommy caught him in a fight between them. He's the only and last cat too." But focusing on the fight with Jukebox and Kanan, is this something we could see either in season 2, 3 or 4? Now there's no way of telling in this moment, especially because it really is hard to see them getting into a real scrap at this moment in time, because they really do have a lot of love for each other, they confide in each other, and as Kanan said, he's never loved anybody harder than Juke. There's also no way of telling whether they'll actually stick to this backstory, because Sasha Penn, who's the showrunner for Raising Kanan, may decide to write a different story when it comes to Kanan's scar, but I really would love them to stick to this original backstory. It would add to the tension between Juke and Kanan, and also be one of the reasons why Kanan feared Juke in power. And it really isn't anything out of the ordinary seeing siblings fight. We saw it with Tommy and Ghost following Angela's death. We saw it between Drew and Kane in Power Book 2 Ghost, and we've also seen it between Lou and Marvin in Season 1. So disagreements, arguments, and fights really do happen all the time. But what could possibly trigger this fight between Kanan and Juke to get to a level where Jukebox cuts him in a fight? Because it really is hard to see Kanan and Juke getting into this danger zone anytime soon. And the only logical explanation is, at some point, they'll get into a disagreement, someone will make a mistake, and there probably will be a deadly consequence. And Hailey Kilgore recently said, Jukebox is starting to see the world for what it really is, and she's maturing at a much faster rate than Kanan, and we'll see how they start to differentiate in thought, opinion, and fact. And Juke really is maturing at a much faster rate than Kanan. Take the Nicole death as an example. Kanan created these blue caps, which resulted in a lot of death on the street, but most importantly, Nicole's. Now, fortunately for Kanan, she accepted Nicole's death and blamed it on the fucked up world they live in. But what if Kanan makes yet another mistake? What if something happens to another love interest of Juke's because of Kanan's actions, or something to do with her music career? Will Juke then say it's the fucked up world they live in? Or will there actually be consequences to actions next time around, and revenge? And it really isn't beyond reasonable doubt to think Kanan could make yet another mistake. He's someone who's confused with who he wants to be in Season 2. There's also an element where he wants to be a kid and do what normal kids do, and he's questioning whether the game is actually for him. He even told Eric and Pat if it was up to him, he'd stay in Virginia, but it seems like Rock is making all the decisions for him, whereas Juke has never really had her mother in her life, nor has she had a connection with Marvin. So she's had to grow up a lot faster, and it seems like she knows what she wants. She doesn't fuck with what Marvin and her family's into, and she busts her ass off to get studio time to further her music career. We also see Rock trying to shield Kanan from the truth, which goes back to Rock making the decisions for Kanan, whereas Juke is someone who's taken it upon herself to reject Marvin's approach to reconnect and also look for answers for the truth herself. And we're gonna see her meeting Kenya at some stage in episode 3 or 4, and it really is intriguing to see how both of them handle the retrospective truth. How Juke deals with Kenya and how Kanan deals with Howard will be completely different, but regardless, I have no doubt Juke is in for some more heartbreak, but the question is who with and how. So it does go back to the question, will Kanan make yet another mistake because of his naivety that could possibly impact Juke to the point where she's had enough of Kanan's careless actions having consequences? Clearly something will happen which will contribute to a fractious relationship between them and sparks this fight, exactly like we've seen in the Power universe. But something else which I think is worth noting and paying attention to is how Juke told Kanan the best part of him is how he cares, and don't ever lose that. But ironically, this is one of the many reasons why Kanan ended up killing Juke, but also how it backfired and ended up with his own death. Tariq St. Patrick was a son that Kanan always wanted, and Juke recognized he started to care for him, which definitely contributed in Kanan killing Juke, but also Kanan dropping his guard around Tariq, which ended up with him going out in a hell of a gunfight with the cops. Now, we also can't forget about how you ain't a real killer till you kill someone you love, and it really doesn't just apply to Kanan. Juke was a cold-blooded killer who had a complete disregard for human life in Power, and so at some point, I do expect her to kill someone she loves as well. And the theory I want to run it back to is something I mentioned during season 1. Did Kanan and Ghost have flashbacks of someone Juke killed in a similar position to what she had Tariq in? Juke having someone in a chair with a gun to their head, someone who Kanan probably loved dearly but couldn't do anything about Jukebox pulling the trigger, and an act of revenge for maybe Kanan making a mistake for taking yet another loved one away from Juke, because she let Nicole's death slide and blamed it on the world they live in. But what happens if Kanan messes up again? There must be a reason why Kanan and Ghost had the level of fear in their eyes, because maybe they thought Juke was about to rewrite history. And let's not forget, Tommy even called her this crazy bitch, and that's coming from someone like Tommy Egan. So if Tommy's calling you crazy, then we haven't seen anything from Juke just yet. They're laying the foundation and giving Jukebox characters to love, have relationships with, but taking every single piece of the caring and loving Laverne Thomas away until she's felt so much pain there's nothing left that could physically or mentally hurt her. So they really are stripping away layer by layer, not just with Kanan but with Marvin, and now we're gonna see it with Kenya. But that's a breakdown of some of the clues and some more information on Kanan and Jukebox's backstory. Do you think we're gonna see Juke/Kanan, and will we see this fight, or could they go in a different direction? Let me know all your thoughts down below on all things Juke and Kanan. And of course, if you are new to the channel and you haven't done so already, then remember to smash the subscribe button if you want to see everything Power Book 3 and Power Universe related. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.